3 months ago, I moved into my late uncle's remote fishing lodge nestled deep within the Redwood Hills. The place was a bit worn down, moss on the roof, a stubborn wood stove, but it was quiet, secluded, and far from the smog and sirens of the city. I finally had peace. Well, almost. There was just one issue. The land technically fell on the outskirts of a sprawling residential development called Maple Hollow Reserve. In running that WA like a personal kingdom, a woman named Darlene Hayworth, WA president for 8 years and self-proclaimed guardian of community integrity. Darlene wasn't your average rule enforcer. She was militant. Residents told me she'd find people for the angle of their wind chimes, the shade discrepancy of garden gnomes, and even for stepping outside in pajamas. Ridiculous, right? I figured I was safe. My uncle's lodge sat outside the manicured streets and plastic fences, perched on a wooded incline no WA had any business claiming. But Darlene disagreed. She insisted that since my driveway connected to a community-maintained road, I was bound by her rules. I laughed it off. The deed was clear. The taxes were in my name. She had no say. Yet every Thursday, like clockwork, she trudged up the hill with a clipboard, aviator sunglasses, and the posture of a drill sergeant. Then, last week, she crossed a line. I had just resealed the deck when I heard her boots stomping up the stairs. She shoved a paper in my face. "This structure is unauthorized," she snapped. "You have 48 hours to vacate in accordance with Section 14, Paragraph B of the Maple Hollow Covenant." I raised an eyebrow. "That covenant doesn't apply here." Darlene squinted. "We'll see about that." I assumed it was just another one of her empty threats. I was wrong. The next morning, I was expecting my old friend Tessa, retired state trooper and survival trainer. We'd met during a wilderness emergency seminar years back, and she'd finally accepted my invite to visit for a quiet week. I was making coffee when I heard a crash. I ran into the living room, and there she was. Darlene. She'd kicked in the door. Handcuffs in one hand, cell phone in the other. "You're under citizen's arrest," she bellowed. "Violation of community codes and squatting on restricted land." Before I could even react, Tessa stepped through the door behind her, lowering her sunglasses. "Calm, focused, put the cuffs down," she said, voice low but commanding. Darlene turned, unfazed. "And who are you, exactly?" "His lawyer." Tessa smiled. "Worse. I'm the reckoning." Darlene hesitated. Just enough. In a blur, Tessa had her spun around and pressed against the wall, handcuffs now dangling uselessly from Darlene's limp wrist. No struggle, just sheer, practiced control. "Let me go," Darlene shrieked. "That's assault. I'm the WA president." "I'm a former state trooper," Tessa replied coolly. "And you just broke into a private home, attempted an unlawful arrest, and are wielding restraints you're not authorized to carry." Darlene sputtered. I stood there stunned, watching my old friend dismantle a tyrant with surgical precision. "You want to file charges?" Tessa asked me over her shoulder. "Yeah," I said, "I think I do." Darlene twisted in her grip. "You can't do this. I am the law around here. The WA board will back me. This land belongs to the community." Tessa rolled her eyes. "This land has been in his family since before your WA even existed. You're not just wrong, you're criminally wrong." She released Darlene, who stumbled back, hair wild, lips trembling. "This isn't over," she spat. "I'm counting on it," Tessa replied. Darlene stormed off, but not before snapping pictures of the broken door and muttering into her phone. Tessa watched her go and said, "Classic power trip, probably dreams of ticketing squirrels." We boarded up the door, and I filed a report with the sheriff's office. Tessa provided her own statement and badge number, and the dispatcher promised to send someone out by morning. That night, we sat by the fire sipping cocoa, laughing at old memories. But I could feel it, we weren't done with Darlene. And we weren't. At sunrise, the rumble of engines shattered the calm. I peeked through the window and choked on my drink. A full WA convoy, 3 golf carts, 2 family-sized SUVs, and a landscaping truck rolled into my clearing like a HOA-themed version of the OK Corral. Leading the charge, Darlene. This time in khaki pants, a neon safety vest, and a shiny fake badge clipped to her belt. Behind her, 6 retirees in WA hats stood like backup dancers, armed with clipboards, tape measures, and walkie-talkies. I'd seen their names in old board minutes, the enforcement subcommittee. I called them the Maple Militia. Tessa appeared beside me, fully dressed, arms folded. "Oh," she brought the cult. Darlene raised a bullhorn. "This is an authorized compliance inspection. You are in violation of property integration standards and must vacate." I stepped out. You have no legal authority here. Incorrect, she bellowed. This land is subject to Covenant Appendix F, regarding ridge access dwellings. Your structure has been evaluated and rejected by unanimous board decision. I blinked. You evaluated my cabin without permission. The WA may conduct observational reviews at any time, she snapped. Your time's up, she motioned, and the clipboard crew advanced. One began photographing the roof. Another measured my garden hose. A third crept toward the boarded door. That was it for Tessa. She descended the porch steps like a storm cloud. Touch that door, she warned, and you'll be cited for criminal trespass, destruction of property, and coordinated harassment. Darlene huffed. You don't intimidate us. Tessa grinned, wolf-like. Good. Then you won't mind I forwarded our body cam footage and a full report to the county sheriff this morning. You know Sheriff Harlan, my old recruit. He called me last night. Darlene paled. You have 5 minutes, Tessa added. Real law enforcement is en route. And they're not fans of clipboard gangs. The militia hesitated. One muttered, maybe we should go. Darlene hissed, we hold the line. A siren echoed through the woods. All heads turned as a sheriff's SUV cut through the clearing. Dust kicked up, lights flashing, doors creaked open. Out stepped Deputy Bryce Langston, tall, squared shoulders, mirrored sunglasses, and a scowl carved in granite. He scanned the scene. Retirees caught mid-measurement, Darlene's fake badge gleaming in the sun, and Tessa, calm and still as a rock. Langston approached me first. You the property owner? I nodded, handing over my ID. He looked at it, then glanced at Tessa. Tessa Rowe. She gave him a nod and a wink. Didn't think you'd believe it, huh? He smirked. Still making trouble, I see. Then he turned to Darlene. Ma'am, I've reviewed the county maps and legal filings. This cabin is not part of Maple Hollow. It was independently deeded in 1973 and excluded from WA Charter territory. You're 400 yards out of your jurisdiction. But, Appendix F. She stammered. Langston held up a hand. Not legally enforceable here, and you're on the verge of multiple criminal charges. Forced entry, attempted unlawful restraint, trespassing, again, with accomplices. The clipboard squad froze. One started backing toward the golf carts. This is outrageous. Darlene barked. I am the WA president. Tessa stepped forward. And you crossed the line. You thought your made-up codes gave you power over private land. They don't. Langston nodded. Darlene Hayworth, you're under arrest for trespassing, property damage, and impersonating law enforcement. He cuffed her as she screeched, you'll regret this. The board will sue you all. Tessa leaned in. Send them my regards. As she was loaded into the SUV, her clipboard army quietly scattered like leaves in the wind. I watched the cruiser disappear down the ridge, still stunned. Tessa clapped me on the back. Told you I'd spice things up. I laughed. Next time you visit, bring popcorn.